Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Bias with Cleveland J. I am Cleveland J. First of all, I apologize for not having the show on. What was it, last night I was supposed to have it on? Not really sure. I've lost track. But so this is something I've done, I think, since I've been 10 years old or something like that. I always, on my own, just kind of predicted the baseball season, the different standings, and sometimes the awards and so forth. I've been doing it every year. I kind of just do it on my own and hide it away. But since I have the show, I thought I would do it live, and you guys can hold me accountable. It's fun. It's just you guys know that I love baseball. They say guys think about sex every 5 seconds or so, whatever that study is. I think about baseball every 2 seconds. So this is always just a fun one for me to do. And so when I was going to do the show, it was going to be one show that I was going to preview all the major leagues. And that's what I kind of intended. But then I had to kind of backtrack on my schedule a little bit to kind of preserve my health and so forth. And hey, Sean, thanks, bud. Let me see if he comes on here. Yeah, there's Sean. You still in Florida, Sean? I don't know. So it was going to be one show. And then I had to backtrack a little bit health-wise and kind of slow down. I don't know. It ended up being like that. But so then I decided, as I was getting the show ready and knowing how much I love baseball, I was diving a little bit too deep in it. And with how long I can talk, you guys know I can talk a lot. I thought that show might be 5-6 hours long. So I decided to do all the divisions in individual episodes. So we'll do all 6 divisions on individual episodes. Hopefully it won't be too long. Hopefully it'll be within half hour, 45 minutes. Crossing my fingers. And then I'll kind of put it all together at the end with all my predictions and so forth. So each show, I'll go through the divisions. I'll talk about all the individual teams. This will allow me to kind of dive into the teams a little bit more. Not too deep, but let me get into some of the prospects and so forth. I will say this. I did all my projections last week, and some things have changed. So I'm probably going to get called out on some things because some people got sent down on some of the first round of cuts. There's been some injuries, and I've been super busy, so I'm not completely up to speed with what's happened in the last particularly three days or so. So there might be some things a little bit off, and you can call me out on that. If you're watching at home, please let me know your thoughts. Anything I'm way off on, might piss people off on this episode, like I always do. So yeah, just let me know what you think. Give me your impressions, anything I've said or opinions, your favorite teams and things like that. We are going to start off with the American League East. And I will say, in looking at the divisions, they kind of mirror each other. The two leagues mirror each other, where I think the two Eastern divisions are the two best divisions in baseball. The American League East, I don't think you're going to find anybody that says it's not the best division of baseball. You know, some of the American people might say that too, because that is a tough one. Even the Marlins are going to be, I think, going to be good this year. So that's also a good one. 3 teams in the playoffs last year in the American League East. We'll see what happens this year. But those two divisions are really strong. You're going to see 2-3 teams out of this division probably in the playoffs. The two American League Central and National League Central, I think, are the two weakest divisions. And I think the Western divisions in both conferences are both top heavy. They're top heavy, then the rest of it is not good. So we're going to take a dive into the National or American League East today. So let's get started. Had a little bit of a panic. So I thought I did that whole first segment on mute. I didn't. So that's good. American League East, again, this is probably the best division of baseball, I think. See when I get around to the National League East, I think both those divisions are head over heels better than the other 4. But American League East is traditionally a powerhouse. There's 4 really strong teams in here. And we're going to start off with the 5th place team, or my 5th place team. And I don't imagine that anybody on the planet has anything other than the Baltimore. So, Oriole fans, first of all, I love the Oriole uniforms. I usually do not like black and orange together. I've always loved the Orioles uniforms. I used to love their black spikes with the orange thing. 30, Sean, come on, man. Can 4 teams make the playoffs? Yes, it is possible, I believe. I think it's going to be tough. This is Sean's prediction for the Orioles. So I'm going to talk you off the ledge here a little bit, Sean. So 52 and 110 last year. That's rough. So new administration, new front office a couple years ago. The previous front office really didn't care about the farm system, and it showed. They have made major strides in their farm system in the last 3 years to the point where they are one of the top farm systems in the league. And they're starting to see some of it. In the next 2-3 years, you're going to see a lot of their talent come up. So even though they're not going to come out of the cellar this year, I think it's going to be an exciting team to watch because there's going to be a lot of young talent on this team. And they're going to probably try some things if they run into some injuries and so forth, or some of the players aren't panning out, some of the prospects and stuff like that. You're going to see a lot of people come in and out, but they're loaded. They're loaded with talent. Maybe it's not major league ready. We're going to see. I think some people are going to be forced up. Okay, 37, Sean, come on. 37, no. So I think they're going to be a little bit better than last year, but we'll see. But again, they're going to be a fun team to watch. They're in the American League East, so they're going to get beat up pretty badly from these teams, but we'll see. But let's take a look at their starting lineup. Cedric Mullin has turned into be a star. I mean, he's a stud. 30-30 last year, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. I think he had 175 hits as well, almost 100 runs, almost hit 300. Really solid player. We'll see if he's one of those players. Austin Hayes as well. Some of those players they may not be able to hold on to, but again, they're stocked and they can use some of this talent to rebuild even further. So it'll be interesting to see what they do over the next year or two, especially at the trade deadline this year and next year. They have a lot of flexibility to move some pieces around. I don't anticipate them competing next year either, especially in this league. But 2 years from now, if they're in position, they're going to have some flexibility at the trade deadline to pick up some major league quality players. So we'll see. 37 wins, Sean? I don't think so though. That's I don't even know what the record is. Do you know what the record is, Sean? Maybe you can look that up while you're listening. And again, if you're listening at home, please say hi in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from, and then anything you want to call me out on or any opinions, even ridiculous opinions like 35 wins for the Baltimore Orioles. But this is a young, exciting lineup. It's gonna be a fun team to watch, regardless of the 52 wins last year. Picking up Odor for second base. Now, I don't think it's guaranteed he's going to win the job. There's like 4 people, and again, I haven't looked in the last 3 days. Second base, there's like 4 or 5 players they can put in there. So I don't know if picking up Odor is rough year last year. We'll see. They have, again, their farm system is stacked, including the number 1 overall prospect and the number 1 pitching prospect in all farm systems. So we're going to talk about those guys in a second. So you're going to see both of them this year. You would have seen one of them, but he had some injuries early on. So we'll see. So the starting rotation, again, this is where they're going to run into trouble. You're going to see a lot of arms. They do have a lot of arms that are, AA, AAA ready, and some of them are probably major league ready. So they're going to try some things. If some of these people struggle, you don't see Garrett Whitlock on here, so I don't know. He was vying for a rotation spot, so you may see. Wrong. That's Boston. So we'll see. I'm confusing prospects, but you'll see they have Boston has a ton of talent. I just think the rotation is where it's going to really struggle. I think they're going to be fine defensively. Offensively, they could probably use some more pop, some more power. They have some speed, but speed doesn't do it anymore. Again, Cedric Mullen had 30 stolen bases. 30 their stolen bases have kind of been devalued in this game. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, they're John Means had a really good year last year. Only had 142 innings, but still had a solid year. Jordan Lyles, I think I saw he had some injury issues this spring. I'm not sure what the status of that, but again, you're a last place team. Your starting staff isn't going to be that strong. But again, young arms coming. So Baltimore fans, do not give up hope. It's going to be an exciting team to watch. So go support your team, especially when you get the arrival of Adley Rutschman and Grayson Rodriguez. These two they're studs. They can't miss. Philadelphia A's. What year was that, Sean? The Philadelphia A's were 36 and 117. Wow, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, you're going to see probably all these guys. DL Hill is also, or Hall is another great left-hander that's ready. He saw action last year as well. But Adley Rutschman probably would have made the opening day roster and lineup. He had some injuries. He'll be back soon. He is the consensus number one prospect in baseball. He's going to be a stud. So Grayson Rodriguez and Adley Rutschman, you're going to see for a long time, hopefully in Baltimore. Those two, particularly DL Hall. Again, a lot of things to look forward to if you're a Baltimore fan. I know the record sucks and you're going to lose a lot of games, but that's baseball. It's 162 and support the young players. You're going to see it. 1916, Sean said. 1916. What's the record for 162 game schedule, Sean? Not to put you to work or anything. But yeah, Adley Rutschman he's awesome. If you've ever seen him play or see the clips, he's a can't miss. He power average, great defensively. Yeah, he's gonna be a superstar in this league for many years. Again, pitchers, you never know with arm problems and so forth, but they have a ton. It's not just these three you're seeing on here: Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall, and Kyle Brandish. There's more. They have more in the farm system that are just about ready. So you're gonna see it. Sean, thanks, Sean. My Cleveland Spiders in 1899 were 20 and 34. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, so their farm system, Baltimore's farm system, number 3 overall. This is the farm system I put together is a composite of like all the different rankings. I kind of compiled all of them and averaged them out. Pretty much everybody had Baltimore 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, great system. And again, they have a lot of major league ready talent now. They've stockpiled some stuff, gives them a lot of flexibility for the future. So again, don't give up hope, Baltimore fans. So in a nutshell, you've seen the lineup, you've seen the rotation, some of the impact or potential impact players. You're going to see others. You're going to see some others. Colton Cowser, he's young. You may see him this year, especially in September. We'll see what happens. And if there's injuries, really good young outfielder. I have him at 61 wins, 61 and 101. So it's 9-game difference, 9-game pickup. And again, I think more than anything, it's heading in the right direction. For many years now, the farm system was awful. The front office now has really made an effort to rebuild their system. And you're going to start seeing it. You're going to start seeing flashes of it this year, definitely next year, in the year after. I wouldn't be surprised 2 years from now, they're going to start to compete. Still probably going to take some things, but you don't know what the rest of the division is going to do. But they have a lot to look forward to. Again, there's other teams that you're going to see later on in other episodes that don't have a lot to look forward to. So it's about farm systems. As much as people don't like it, we've reduced the farm system over the last year. We've gotten rid of a lot of teams, so the talent pool's a little bit thinner. You have to spend money in this day and age in your farm system. It's a business, and everybody wants to see the dividends at the major league level. I'm hoping Major League Baseball, invest a lot of money in marketing in the minor leagues. The minor league teams do such a great job of drawing and so forth, but there are some ones that just don't. And it's fun baseball to watch, and you're seeing future stars there. So if you are, that's what I should have put. I should have put all the farm teams on here. Maybe I'll do that for the other episodes. If you're in anywhere near a minor league stadium, A-ball, rookie, AA, AAA, even the independent leagues, go see them, go support them. It's always fun. If you're a baseball fan or a sports fan, or even not, it's usually a really great family atmosphere and usually inexpensive. Go support them. You're going to say you saw a future Hall of Famer way back when he was in single A or double A. They always do a great job of engaging with the fans and the community. So go support them. Yeah. So again, how they contend, they can't. I asked that question of every team. They can't. They're under no circumstances this year are they going to be, I don't see how there's any way they can get above the cellar with this division with 4 strong teams. What they have 4 teams last year with 90 wins or more. I don't think there's any way under any scenario that they are going to make it out of the cellar, even if the other teams really stumble. They're not making it out of the cellar. But again, it's looking up. It's looking up for Baltimore, and go support them. Go support them. But 61 and 101 is my modern day. There we go, Sean. Modern day would be the Mets in 1962. Yeah, 100. Actually, I think I remember that. Not remembered it, but I knew it. 40 and 120, which I believe was the Mets' first season, which makes sense. I can't wait to talk about the Mets. And if you didn't see the marathon episode that I did last week with my buddy Andy Dubitsky, he's a diehard Mets fan. I had so much fun catching up with him. Go check out the episode in bits and pieces. It's like 3 hours long because we don't think we got into the lineup until like over an hour after the show started because I haven't talked to him in so long. We said we had fun. But he's a really very knowledgeable sports fan, diehard Mets fan, very New York. It's a fun episode to go watch and listen to. It's on, I think the podcast is up. The audio is up as well. So go check that out. All right. So in 5th place in the American League East is the Baltimore Orioles. So I will say the next 4, I think the next one, under many circumstances, you can take the next 3 and probably juggle them. I do think there's a difference, but you're going to see the next 3 in any kind of order and other predictions you see. I have the Boston. The Boston Red Sox 4th in the American League East. So they came out of nowhere last year. A lot of surprise, a lot of people last year. Again, they're a hugely talented team. You put this team on almost any other division except for maybe, the National League East, maybe with the Dodgers because the Dodgers are probably the most stacked team in the league. They in the National League they would definitely make the playoffs. In the American League, I think it's going to be a borderline. I know they made it last year. I think they take a little bit of a step back next year, or this year rather, but their lineup is stacked. I mean, here's their lineup. Their lineup is stacked. Picking up Trevor Story, hopefully he has a bounce back year. A lot of times with these big trades, that first year with the team, new atmosphere, new environment, getting used to everything from the locker room to the clubhouse attendance to the fans to your daily routines. Sometimes it takes a year, like in all other sports, but Frankie Lindor is an example. I expect monster year from him in New York, but we'll see. Some people kind of step right in. We'll see what Trevor Story does. That's a big pickup for the Red Sox. But this is a solid lineup. Xander Bogaerts is ridiculous. Rafael Devers is this is a really stacked lineup. I have Jarren Duran making the starting lineup in left field. We'll see. He's a young player. I don't know if he's considered a rookie or not. He did come up last year. I'm not sure about the status, but definitely one of their. I think he's their number 4 prospect, number 1 outfield prospect, I believe. He's good. A lot of energy. You're gonna like watching him play. I did not like the Red Sox growing up. Something about them, I did not. I did not like that they won a World Series before the Cubs did. Hated that, but. Yeah, you got to love it for their fans, and it's obviously a great sports town, and they love the Red Sox. And it was great last year, kind of seeing the fans come out and embrace that team again. I think their last run, even when they won, there wasn't as much excitement as there was in 2004, I believe it was, when they won. But there was a lot of electricity back in Fenway Park. I almost said Finley. In Fenway Park last year. So hopefully that continues. This is an exciting young team to watch with exciting young players. And I have to say, of all the times, and Sean's still listening, I hope some other people are too, I don't remember a time, not even close, where there's so many young stars. And there's another another 20 on the horizon. That you're going to see some of them emerge this year. You're going to see one of them in this division, I think, as a breakout year. There are so many unbelievably young stars. And I know Baseball Tonight, MLB Network is doing their top 100 players. As long as you can keep JD as a DH. No, definitely as a brick for a glove. I think he DHs the whole year. He's one of those guys, if they fall out of it, somebody's going to want to pick up his bat at the trade deadline. I think one of the keys for them too is Kiki Hernandez embracing going to the outfield. I know he was really reluctant to go. He's embraced playing center field, and he's an extremely talented guy. He's a fan favorite wherever he went. The Dodgers loved him. But I don't know if you guys know the story about Kiki Hernandez. So I think it was with the Dodgers organization. I think he came up with the Dodgers, but he acted like his minor league manager was a total ass, and so all year he acted like he didn't speak English. So his manager thought he didn't speak English the whole year until later in the year. He said something in the locker room and called him a dick and said something like, it was all like, everybody started laughing, even including the manager. But pretty funny. But he's a character. And it seems like Boston always has, character type guys like that. But I think having Alex Cora back managing is a huge difference for this team. Even though he cheated, involved in that, I know that's a whole different show. But he's a good manager and good baseball mind. So, anyways, let's move on to their starting lineup, their starting rotation. Now, this is going to be tricky too. I think this is where it all unravels for them, and this is where I think they're not going to be as strong this year. Chris Sale already has some little tweaks. If he's healthy by mid-May, I don't even know. Again, the last 3 days I haven't paid attention. They have to have Chris Sale healthy. He had a great year last year for his limited role. He was 5-1. Started out great, but had all the injuries, which he has the last several years. So if Chris Sale's down for the year or any significant amount of time, Michael Wacha's older and he's not very good. They have a couple rookie or prospects they're going to pitch. You're going to see Garrett Whitlock probably. So you're going to see some young arms. I'm actually right behind me on my screen. I have the prospects. I'm just looking to pull up the Red Sox real quick and kind of look at if I can get my screen to work. Is this the Red Sox? Yeah. So this is the Red Sox top 30 prospects. Now, again, I forget whether I think they're number 8 or 9, 10, somewhere around there in the minor league system. So they're kind of middle pack, but they also have, I think one of the reasons there too is they have their talent, their farm system is not major league ready. They have a lot of talent at the A-ball level, and maybe you're just going to see some in the Double-A this year, but they have a lot of young talent. I'm talking 19, 20-year-old kids at A-ball. So in this list usually changes when they make the top 30, top 100 in an organization. From year to year, that changes drastically. Some of these young players don't pan out or injuries and stuff like that. So, they don't have a whole lot of help. I'm just looking at their top ones. Yeah, they have a couple. The top 3 or 4. They have, Brian Bellows, ready, Jeter Downs, Brian Mantis. So there's definitely some pitching help, which they're going to need. They're definitely going to need. I don't see Sale staying healthy, and we'll see. We'll see what the closer does. I think Matt Barnes had 24 saves last year. This is where you might see Whitlock step into that role. We'll see. Yeah, I already mentioned Jarren Duran in the outfield. Connor Siebold's one of those young arms you're going to see more than likely. Beyond that, if you see some injury, they falter a little bit, you're going to see some of those other young arms they have ready down in AAA. So we'll see. Number 9 for their farm system. Here's the overall look. You saw the lineup. You saw the rotation. If you have any opinions on that, please put it in the chat. I have them at 85 wins. I think last year they had 92 wins. Again, I think they kind of snuck up on some people. I think they take a little bit of a step back. And again, I think it's because of the division they're in more than anything else. I think if they're in another division, they still win 92 games plus. But this is a tough division. It's a really tough division. Again, I have Baltimore winning a few more games than they did last year. Probably not against this division, but But yeah, 85 and 77, fourth place in the American League East for the Boston Red Sox, which brings me to the number 3 team, or my number 3 team in the American League East. May surprise some people if you look at other people's rankings, but here it is. All right, the Yankees, third place in the American League East. Again, I when I first did this, my first pass with them was actually in fourth place until I really examined the lineups of Boston and New York. I had it over the last couple of weeks. I had it stretched out a little bit. I have you'll see my prediction in a couple seconds, but New York's New York. You're gonna get some injuries. It seems like every year they have major injuries. Something weird happens in that town. Brian Cashman's going to be on the hot seat for sure. Aaron Boone's on the hot seat. I love Booney. But, it's New York. And if you finish third this year, you're gone. You're gone. So, yeah, New York's New York. Let's take a look at their lineup. It is a really good lineup. Picking up Josh Donaldson was a great pickup. Picking up Connor Falefa is a good pickup as well. So we'll see. Joey Gallo. A lot of people are expecting Joey Gallo to have a really great year in New York. We'll see. Stanton healthy. They have to stay healthy. Judge and Stanton. Stanton particularly has to stay healthy. Rizzo. Again, I love Rizzo being a Cubs guy. I was really hoping they'd bring him back. I was really upset with that. But business-wise, I totally understand it. I hope he continues to play well. I hope he's starting to be at the downside of his career. Hopefully playing in New York gives him some energy, staying there. He chose to stay there this year. So we'll see. Aaron Hicks, great center fielder. They've had some young players in the mix in the last few years. And now if you look at this lineup, it's not that young a lineup anymore. You have some older guys in there. Joey Gallo's been around for a little while now. And Josh Donaldson's been around. Stanton, Judge is still young. Rizzo's been around for a while, even Aaron Hicks. Thanks, Shawno. See you soon. You have to come on maybe when we do the National League West with your Padres. I have a lot to say about them. Thanks for watching, bud. So this is still a solid lineup. I think the biggest, move, detraction was Gary Sanchez. He was dead weight. He just, he had some numbers, but him to move on, he'll send him to the Twins. I think it's, that's better off for you guys. Again, I know I have a lot of New York Yankee friends, New York Yankee fan friends. And I think, a lot of people have them number 2 in this division. A lot of people seeing, I'll wait. I'll save that comment. I have them. I think, you'll see. You'll see here in a second. Let's just go to their pitching real quick. Again, Luis Severino coming back healthy and being there for the full year will be a huge help. Now that Garrett Cole finally, again, later in the year, figured out how to pitch or learned how to pitch again without the sticky substance. It was just ironic that right after that he started struggling, but he righted the ship. He righted the ship at the end. So I think my biggest concern with their staff is going to be their closer. I think Chapman again is on the downside of his career. People are starting to catch up to him as his control isn't as good as it was. So I think you're going to see some other arms. Chapman might be one of those guys that goes to the trade deadline too, or even they make a move sooner than that. They have a couple people that could step into the closer role. So that's one of the areas. The end of the rotation. We'll see. Again, it all comes down to pitching in most cases. This game now is so offense that sometimes offense can overcome mediocre pitching. But the Yankees just have to stay healthy. It seems like every year they have more injuries than anybody else. I don't know why that is. I'd love to do a little deeper dive on that. But yeah, they have to stay healthy. Still a really strong team. They can win anywhere from 100 games to 85 games. It just depends. Some prospects you're going to see. You're definitely going to see Clark Schmidt rather. They have some good young arms. Lewis Gill. They have some other people down in the minor league system that are ready to roll. Their number 1 prospect is Anthony Volpe, shortstop. He's not quite ready. They have a couple infielder like Peraza and Cabrera both gives them some flexibility in the infield. So if we go back there real quick and just look at their lineup, Gabriel Torres, fan favorite, people love him, but not necessarily the strongest. Who knows if Josh Donaldson's going to stay healthy. So you have some flexibility there with some of these young guys, some of their top prospects ready to roll. So you're definitely going to see some of these arms. I can't imagine that whole staff's going to stay healthy. Like it always seems to be the case. Yeah, for most teams too. It's not like they're the only ones, but it just seems like New York is always snake bitten with injuries. But you're definitely going to see Clark Schmidt. He's a big time prospect. So same thing with Lewis Gill. Their farm system again, number 10, kind of like with Boston. You can kind of flip flop those. I think New York kind of doing a deeper dive in their farm system. I think they have more major league ready talent that they could at least try some things. It gives them some flexibility, more so than Boston, and that's one of the reasons I pole vaulted them above Boston initially. Was I thought they had more flexibility in their roster, which I think. Injuries, you always got to factor in that when you're going through a season. You're never going to stay completely healthy. And I think they have more pieces, particularly arms, and some infield help, and two really good outfielders coming too. So, again, it looks good for the Yankees. I mean, they still have to rebuild. They're always going to just kind of rebuild. I don't think the Yankees are ever going to kind of maintain a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 farm system. They may vault up there for some acquisitions they do during the trade deadlines and so forth for a couple of years, but they don't stay there because they go after the winning right now. They've always been like that. So we'll see what happens. So this is your kind of snapshot of the New York Yankees. I have them for 91 wins. That's only, basically what they did last year. Hold on a second. So, basically what they did last year. If I remember correctly, did they finish second last year? Yeah, they finished second. I think they finished second last year, where this says at the top. Yeah, tied for second with Boston. Yeah, they tied with Boston last year. So again, I have Boston taking a couple steps back. I think they have them at 85 wins is what I had. New York at 91, and 71, third place in the American League East. How they contend, injuries from above them, the two teams above them. You have the Blue Jays and Rays. You're going to see in just a second. It wouldn't shock anybody if the Yankees ended up winning this division. I don't think it would be a world shocker if Boston had just a killer year. All the things lined up and had some career years from people and fewer injuries than the other teams. That Boston could get up there too. So these four teams, I say three teams. I think there's three teams in that mix. I think there's one team at the top. But I have the Yankees at 91 and 71, third place in the American League East. That brings me to number 2. Number 2 team in the American League East. Yeah, they're going for I think their third division title in a row. The first time they would do that. I think their fourth playoff spot in a row. I don't think there's any question they're going to the playoffs. This is just one of those teams. If you love baseball, you got to love watching the Rays play and how they go about their business. Usually not huge stars. They kind of always have a top tier farm system. Yes, they were one of the early ones that adopted the analytics, and that's really paid off for them. They're always moving. They're always moving within their organization. They're always in the top 5, it seems like, in their farm system. Always have people ready to go if somebody goes down. I think you see a lot of flexibility. It gives them a lot of flexibility. Now a lot of those players end up going on eventually, but we talked about so many young stars in this game now. I'd like to. Maybe I'm going to do a show at some point about all these young talents. I've never seen anything like it. And there's probably 20 players this year that you're going to see this year, maybe emerge this year, or late call ups. But you're seeing one right there, Wander Franco. He's going to be a superstar. He's going to be a superstar in this league. Has the pedigree, has the body. He's talented. I think he's the next guy you see step up, kind of like Fernando Tatis Jr. did a couple years ago. Who that injury for San Diego is not good. That stinks. That's a talented team and talented guy, and I hate to see the young talent start having some injuries like that. But But the Rays, seems like they're always there when you don't expect them to be. They are. So, oh my gosh, it's winter and I'm seeing things fly around now. I don't like that. So let's take a look at their lineup. Again, if you're not a baseball fan, their lineups are a lot of people that you don't necessarily know until they have really big breakout years. You have the rookie of the year leading things off. I can never say that name. Randy, we're just going to call him Randy. Franco, I think, again, now if Franco falters, he doesn't take that next step. I think, again, above all other teams, you see the Rays do this, somebody else will step in there. They have organizational flexibility where Franco really struggles and needs some more time or plate appearances or whatever it may be. They'll shift things around. They always do. It seems like they're always capable of doing that. Probably because the analytics, they know their team, their organization so well and know how to shift gears, know how to move the pieces around that they seem like they're always there. They went through a long period where they got the number one draft choice for years and years and years. And really built their farm system. So then when the analytics guys came in, they kind of had a lot to work with. So if Franco doesn't pan out for some reason or doesn't take that next step this year, again, I'm not overly concerned. I still think they finish where they finish without that. But this is a really good lineup. Brandon Lau had a great year last year. He's a great stick in there. Austin Meadows, great DH. Some of these guys, again, if they don't compete, maybe they don't hold on to them after this year, going into next year, signing some free agents and stuff like that. But again, I just never worry about the Rays. I wish they had a different ballpark. I wish people went out and watched them. I don't know what the status is. I don't know if they're trying to get a new ballpark or what's happening with that. But it just seems like that city doesn't support them. And I could be wrong. It just seems from an outside perspective. I have a couple friends that are in Tampa. Maybe they can shed some light on it at some point. But I expect the Rays to be in the mix as they have been for the last 5 years, for the next 5 years. And that's a long run in baseball. Things can happen so quickly. And again, if any team can adapt to players not working out or injuries, it's the Rays because they have organizational flexibility. I think that's the biggest key for them. So that's their lineup. Solid lineup. Again, not big names that you necessarily know. But Kevin Cash's team, always is ready. Now they have a lot of arms in their system ready to go. Shane Baz is hurt. He's another, stud young guy. Shane McClanahan, Corey Kluber, he's up there. Has injury prone. So again, because that organizational flexibility, if Kluber gets hurt again, and I love Corey Kluber being a Tribe fan, love that man. One of the best pitchers in Cleveland history. But he's been snake bitten with injuries over the last 3 years. And you never know what's going to happen. Drew Rasmussen, again, there's some great young arms here and some more coming. So again, because the organizational flexibility, if Corey Kluber goes down and some of these guys have rougher years or rough patches, there's people that can plug in, even if it's just a spot start here and there, just to give somebody a rest or whatever it is. You can rest assured that the Rays are on that and they can make it work. I don't think there's panic versus some other teams. If somebody goes down, like Chris Sale goes down, Severino goes down for the Yankees, there's some panic that sets in the fandom and the organization. I think the Rays have that organizational flexibility that I don't think people panic. I think they know people have confidence in what the organization is doing, and I think they're always going to be there. So again, this is an exciting team to watch. It was a really exciting team last year. So if you have a chance to watch them, watch them. This whole division is going to be fun to watch. A lot of young talent, mixed with some great veterans. But I have this team finishing second this year after 2 first-place finishes. Again, Josh Lowe, Xavier Edwards, a great infielder. Vidal Brujan is a really talented guy. You're going to see him this year for sure. You saw him last year a little bit. Again, I haven't looked at how the rosters are shaping up in the last few days. So we'll see what happens. But again, these are the guys that give them organizational flexibility. There's several other guys with arms, left and right handers that I could have put on this list as well, which you will probably see. But again, outfield, infield, if one of those guys goes down, struggles, again, they have people to plug in, and they have some young stars ready to roll. And I have to say with the Rays, I'm so glad they went away from that, whatever that was. First of all, the teal green, which I hated on that team, and then like the rainbow one with the Rays that was awful. That was awful. I will soon be doing a uniform episode with one of my kids. I think they both kind of want to do another episode with me, so we're probably going to do uniforms and maybe college logos. But I'm always looking at logos and the color schemes and so forth. And I like these Rays uniforms and logos better than in the past. So we'll see. So here's your snapshot of the Rays. You saw the lineup, you saw the rotations, some of the possible impact prospects. 94 and 86, or 68 rather. 94 and 68. They won 100 games last year, so this is a 6-game difference. Again, this division's tough. It's hard to maintain the momentum they had. They wouldn't surprise me if they won 105 games. So if they don't have injuries, and again, they have that plug-and-play mentality. Toronto has some injuries. Other teams stumble in the division. I can definitely see them winning over 100 games. Wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, this is the team that would least shock me. I would expect it from this team. So other teams I don't say that about, but this I wouldn't even bat an eye if they won 104 games. So yeah, it's the Rays. So, but I have them winning 94 and 68. How they contend? Again, injuries, Toronto injuries, them staying healthy, the organizational flexibility that I'd mentioned when they need it late in the season. I think another thing that organizational flexibility does, and what the Rays do really well, is having their teams ready for the playoff. They're rested, they're healthy, and they're ready to go. I think sometimes, teams try to get there. It's a marathon, but that last month of the season sometimes is a serious sprint, and it seems like the Rays are always ready and prepared. So again, how they contend, they're contending right now. I expect them to battle Toronto, but again, a few breaks here and there. Toronto, I think, was a year away last year. I actually had them winning the division last year. Some of the young talent stepping up. So it fell a little short. But again, that division, I think they won 90 games last year, didn't they? We'll see in a second. This division was ridiculous. So it's not like they underachieved last year. It's a young team with huge superstars coming. So anyway, I have the Rays as second in the American League East, which brings me to the Toronto Blue Jays, number 1 in the American League East. This was a no-brainer for me. On paper, I think the Dodgers, there's a couple teams that are really close. The Mets have done a great job in their offseason. I think the Toronto lineup and the Dodgers lineup are the best in baseball. This is a team that's stacked. They lost a couple key guys. They lost the Cy Young Award winner. They lost Robbie Gray, and they lost Marcus Semien. Those are 2 big names that they lost, and I don't think they skip a beat. In fact, I think they take the next step. Again, they have huge talent. I mean, look at this lineup. George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero is, probably the biggest the face of baseball right now. The key with him is over the next several years, as long as he can stay healthy, keep his body in playing shape. I have not seen him this year. I have not watched any of their minor league games yet. So I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but I know I've heard people in the past always talk about he has to stay healthy, has to stay in shape. But look at this lineup. I mean, it's ridiculous. Picking up Matt Chapman, Calvin Biggio, at second base now. This is a sick lineup. I mean, this is one of those teams that could definitely, even if their pitching struggled, which it won't, even if it was a middle of pack rotation, they could outscore you. This is just their approach to hitting. Again, this is a team that just has a ton of energy. It's just when you watch them play, there's just so much energy on this team. And usually when I see teams like that, especially young teams like that, it concerns me because I think that gets the best of them. I think, they end up getting tired later in the season and wearing themselves down. I don't know. This new young player now is just, it's a different mentality. And I don't think those same things happen. And especially with this team, I think there's just so much energy. You have some veteran leadership on this team. You have these young studs and more studs coming. They have a few players that are major league ready. Their farm system, is kind of depleted. It's middle to late pack. So they're primed to win now. I mean, they have a lot of young guys on the team. The roster is young. I don't know how much flexibility they have to move at the trade deadline, so that'll be interesting to play out if they need to do something at the trade deadline because the injuries are it's a close race with the Rays or New York or Boston. We'll see what happens because I don't know if they have a lot of flexibility in their minor league system to do that. So we'll see. We'll see. But this lineup is sick. It's sick. It's a fun team to watch. Again, contagious energy. That's what I like to say about this team. And there's other teams like this, and sometimes it's year to year. Like a team could have that contagious energy for a season and just lose it. I don't know if it's expectations or whatever. I've seen this energy with this team for the last couple years. I don't see that going away this year. We'll see. I just think this is, other than the Dodgers lineup, this is the best lineup in baseball. I think it's sick. It's going to be a totally fun team to watch. So check them out. Let's take a look at their rotation. Again, they lost Robbie Ray. They lost the Cy Young Award winner. The key here, they re-signed Jose Barrios. That was they picked him up last year it was, midseason. And that's a huge pickup. They had to re-sign him with losing Robbie Ray, so that's a good pickup. Ryu's older, but he eats up innings. He eats up innings, and so that's always good in your third, fourth starter. If you can eat up some innings and keep your teams in games, is key. Jordan Romano as a closer, I like. Again, let me just look at their top talent in their farm system. See kind of some major league ready players. Top 30. Yeah, they have. Yeah, again, you're going to see Gabriel Moreno probably this year. I think he steps in the catcher position. He's going to be a stud. I really like him. He's not Adley Rutschman from Baltimore, but he's solid. I like him. I'm looking at particularly arms. Yeah, they're kind of thin on arms for sure. Yeah, they're at least in their top 10. They have 15 through 20. They have some AAA ready arms. Bowden Francis, Hager Danner. There's definitely some arms there. Joey Murray, and again, I don't know about injuries right now with these players, but this is just their top 30 prospects. So they definitely have some guys they can bring up and work with if they do see some injuries. I think, again, I'm not as concerned with pitchers going down for Toronto because that offense is ridiculous. I think if Barrios can stay healthy and Guzman Gusman can stay healthy, I think you're going to be solid. Ryu's a horse. I think you're good. Again, I think this staff is a solid staff. It's going to keep you in games, give you innings, and that's all you need with this lineup. So I have them hands down winning this division. I will be surprised if they don't, but again, it won't shock me if the Rays come win. And again, the Yankees and Boston are capable. I just think this is the year for Toronto to make the next move. I think last year too, last year they had how many games did they play in Toronto? Didn't they play in the Buffalo thing? Was that last year? Being back in the Rogers Center for the full year. I think everything is lined up for this team to get to the World Series. Now, whether they will, it's why you play 162 games. But this team is stacked. It's a fun team to watch, and I'd be surprised if they don't win this division. So again, Kyle Johnston. Yeah, Kyle Johnston's another one of those arms I mentioned. I mentioned Gabriel Moreno earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't even looked. Maybe he beats out, wins in the catcher race, but we'll see. We'll see. Kyle Johnston, I saw him pitch at Texas several times. He's a stud. So they do have some, especially they have three people that can get in there if they do. If there's deeper injuries, that would be more a concern for the pitching staff. But again, any other team I'm going to worry about. Toronto's going to score so many runs. Even if Vlad goes down, even if Vlad doesn't stay healthy, I still think this team scores a ton of runs. And he'll be on the sidelines cheering his team on and still have his infectious energy, contagious energy there. So yeah. Snapshot of the Toronto Blue Jays. You saw your lineups. We saw the rotation. Awesome lineup. One of the best, 2 and 3 lineups in all of baseball. Solid rotation, even losing the Cy Young Award winner. Some major league ready talent, and maybe it's not deep there, but their farm system's middle of the pack. But they do have some people, particularly arms, that can step in if need be. So we'll see. I have them 103 wins. I said it, 103 wins. 103-59, first in the American League East. I don't know what's next. I'm going to have to see it. Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of the overview. So I have the Toronto Blue Jays winning 100 games, the Tampa Bay winning 94. And I think this is I think it's going to be season long. I think they'll have a 3-4 game cushion coming into September. I think they maintain it. But again, I wouldn't surprise me if one of these other teams, I think Boston and New York are the ones you can kind of flip-flop the easiest. I can also see Tampa Bay stepping back a little bit more and be in the mix with Boston and Yankees. And again, Baltimore, again, they're not going to contend. They're not going to contend next year, but their outlook is much better than it was last year, and particularly better than it was the year before. You have the number one overall prospect in Adley Rutschman, and you have the number one pitcher, number one pitching prospect. So things are looking up for Baltimore. It's going to be a fun team to watch. This is a really fun division. Right now, I'm going to say it's the best division in baseball. I think the National League East, I have to take a little bit better look at it now that the Mets did some things and the Braves lost Freddie Freeman, but they picked up some things. God, there's so much. I'm thinking about all the young talent these teams have and this league has right now. And again, I hope Major League figures out the best way to market the talent to youngsters and again, baseball. I know baseball in a lot of people's eyes have taken a step back because it's slow, and I never buy that. I'd rather see a 1-0 game than a 12-10 game, personally, being a baseball purist. But I get it. I like runs. I like the excitement. I like the long ball. But I hate that we don't, a lot of these things, moving the runners over. I'm glad they're getting rid of the shift. I think that was awful. They're looking at, pitching clocks and all those things and speeding that stuff up. And, I don't mind the length of games and so forth. I still love watching baseball, but baseball's doing really well, despite everybody bitching about the time, how long games take and everything else. Baseball's never done better. They're drawing better than ever. They're making more money better than ever. And even some of the smaller markets who haven't drawn in the past still do fairly decently. So they're making more money, sharing that money. One of the things I should have put in here, I would have liked to, and maybe I again will for the other ones, and maybe I mentioned it earlier, is I want to put the payrolls of these teams in there. Obviously, there's a huge difference between New York, LA, and those teams, and the Rays and the Indians and teams like that. So it's an interesting